Hello there, it's 1 o'clock. I'm Smriti Vidyarthi. The top stories at this hour, and former Youth and Gender Affairs Principal Secretary Lillian Omolo and her 29 co-accused in the third cluster of the NYS2 case have pleaded not guilty to charges of conspiracy to defraud the National Youth Service of 167 million shillings. The prosecution has outlined a 54-count implicating former senior state officials, including former NYS Director General Richard Ndubai. Well, the case is currently ongoing at the Anti-Corruption Court in Milimani. Our reporter Seth Olale is covering that event and will bring us the details later on this afternoon. Elsewhere, Parliament is set to resume sittings tomorrow afternoon after a two-month break, and they already have a full in-tray. Among issues the National Assembly is expected to discuss is the budget policy statement that outlines revenue collection and its expenditure. Our political affairs reporter Kennedy Mureithi is at the Parliament buildings, and Kennedy, discussing the budget expenditure alone is expected to take up most of the 5 months.
Yes, and that's very true, because it is one of the most critical things that Parliament is in existence for. You'll remember that it is the House that makes sure that every money that is collected has to be appropriated, and if Parliament or if the executive wants to spend money that has been collected from us as the taxpayers, then it has to request that permission from Parliament, which through the Budget Committee has to make sure that it scrutinizes what has been brought forth by the National Treasury and make sure that everything is in accordance to the law. Earlier on in the day, we spoke to a couple of members of Parliament who even spoke on this budget statement, and there is a feeling that as a country we have set our targets so high with regards to budget allocations and budget and what comes in. You remember that he said that actually last year we set a budget we set a target of 1.7 trillion, but we also had a deficit of 1.3 trillion that we are going to look for through monies that are going to be sourced either through grants that are coming to the country or also borrowing and all that. So it is a matter that Parliament says that this time around they want to scrutinize, but we do understand that before the 15th of February, the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary, that is Henry Rotich, must have brought that budget policy statement that is going to be scrutinized, and it is going to go all along into June when the budget is going to be read. But apart from that, there are also other issues that are coming up. About 2 weeks ago, the president, that is Uhuru Kenyatta, had a meeting with the House leadership in Mombasa, and we do understand from that meeting that President Uhuru Kenyatta was not so happy with the performance of the leadership of the House, more so that of the Senate, as there are bills that are still lying there that are supposed to have been already dispensed with, and some of these bills touch on Kenyans and specific areas of this country, like the petroleum bill that is still at the Senate and should have been already forwarded to the National Assembly. So we do expect that probably some of these bills will be expedited so that they are brought into the National Assembly. There is that bill. There is also the bill on roads, energy, the land index bill, the irrigation bill, and these are some of the bills that are supposed to have already been forwarded to the National Assembly for action and eventual passage to the President for assent. But we also we expect that within this period, the President will be communicating on when he will be addressing the nation. Remember, according to the Constitution and according to the law, the President is supposed to have a State of the Nation address, whereby he will give an account of what his government has been able to achieve and what he outlines for in that specific year. It is a constitutional requirement, so the President is supposed to set a date, either this February, in March, or before April, when he will be able to address the nation. We also do expect that within this period, the President will also be giving an account on what he wants to do with the Big Four, so that Parliament, in its looking at the budget policy statement, they will be able to see what they will set aside for this big four. You remember that President Uhuru Kenyatta has been very critical about the big four, to the extent that he has even warned members of the cabinet not to engage in politics. And he has also been seen to be very careful about those people that are engaging in parliament, in politics, to the extent that he is even isolating them with regards to making sure that the big four agenda, which he says is going to be his flagship projects, are going to be implemented. So Parliament will be called upon to set aside some money for this particular case. Another point that we also do know right now, through the House Business Committee that is going to be constituted tomorrow, is that after the reconstitution of committees that we do expect is going to be the first order of business tomorrow, is that the 2/3 gender bill is going to be prioritized. Women leaders do not want this matter to come through Parliament again. They want it to go through the Building Bridges initiative. But according to the House Leader of Majority, that is Aden Duale, he says that it is not their bill. So it is going to be prioritized through the House Business Committee, and it is a matter that is going to be brought within the first few months, within the first few sittings of this National Assembly. We are also meant to speak with Speaker of the Senate, that is Kenneth Lusaka, who will also be giving us his expectations for the 12th Parliament this new year of the Senate, probably to answer to these questions of why is the Senate being accused of not having brought bills that are key to the National Assembly for debate and also eventual assent by the President. These are things that we're just keeping tabs on, but we will be giving you a detailed account in our subsequent bulletins. Right now, it's back to you, Smriti, in studio.
All right, Kennedy, thanks very much for that update. No doubt a busy time ahead for Parliament. All right, elsewhere, nurses under the national government have kicked off their industrial action after an 11-day notice issued to the government. Now, they claim that county government nurses are having their issues addressed, even as their issues are ignored, that is the national government nurses. They say that the Salaries and Remuneration Commission lied about their numbers, saying that they exaggerated the numbers by over 1,000.
Kwa nini return to work formula inakuwa ni shida, ambapo wanasema ni pesa kidogo, wanaongeza hata idadi ya wauguzi ambao wako kwa national government? Mbona wanadanganya? Wasisimame kwa ukweli na waseme hivi ndivyo tulivyo na tungependa hivi na hivi. Tumetoka nje kwa sababu ya uongo ambao wanadanganya. Tuko kwa national government yote tuko wauguzi 300 peke yake, hata tujafika 500. Lakini imekuwa ni ngumu sana kwa wao kutimiza. Wamekuwa kituambia, kutuahidi ahadi ambazo hawatimizi. Sisi leo tunasema tunataka ahadi, manake Waswahili walisema ahadi ni deni.
You find in Mathare, one nurse is doing the work of around 20 nurses, and here we are asking for a small nurses allowance, and they are very busy picketing, saying that we are being overpaid. Who said we are being overpaid? We demand for that nurses services allowances, and in fact we are demanding for another special risk allowance for working in such terrible and dangerous situations. We work with defilers, we work with rapists, we work with murderers. And you find a nurse like me here with 120 patients. It is very dangerous.
All right, to a truly disturbing story. A 66-year-old child protection officer in Kama in Kilifi County is wanted for defiling his 13-year-old granddaughter. The Class 5 pupil reported that her grandfather, a child protection officer in Kilifi, used to defile her in her room and threatened her with untold consequences if she disclosed what was happening.
Life has taken a toll on this 13-year-old girl, her childhood interrupted by a person who was meant to offer her protection. The girl reported that her grandfather had been defiling her since August, and when she reported the matter to her family, most of who did not believe her.
Ilikuwa saa 3 usiku. Mara tulikuwa tumelala, mara nashtuka kuona mtu kwenye kitanda chetu. Nilichukua tena kuwasha. Nimeona babu akinibaka. Mara Aliniambia kwamba nitakuchezea mwenyewe hadi nitosheke.
It took the intervention of the girl's mother and teachers who listened to her and reported the matter. The girl's grandmother later on disclosed that she once found her husband in the girl's room at night, which led to a scuffle as she wanted to know why he was there.
Nikamwona kwa kitanda hayuko, nikamfuata polepole na tochi, nikamwona anaanza kupanda huko kitandani, anachukua huyu mdogo anamweka huku karibu ampate huyu sera vizuri. Na yeye mwenyewe alikuwa amevaa swali na pants. Kwa hivyo alikuwa bado kumuingilia, alikuwa bado. Mimi mwenyewe nikasikia huko usingizini. Na amka nikaamka ndoka tena kuta huko ndani yangu. Nikampiga nikasema basi umekuja fuata nini huko chumba cha hawa watoto? Na watoto wasichana hakina mlango kweli, lakini kwenye chumba cha watoto umekuja fuata nini? Nimekuja fuata nini basi? Sikufuata kitu mimi. Sikufuata chochote kabisa. Hata nimekuja tu. Manake nyumbani yangu popote naweza kuingia.
The 66-year-old man is said to be a child protection officer with one of the international child protection organizations in Kilifi. A mother of 9 said she married her current husband after being widowed. The girl has now been taken to Kilifi County Gender-Based Violence Center for treatment, as investigations by the authorities carry on. Helen Aura, NTV.
Certainly hope that justice is served. Right, let's take you back to our top story and bring you some live pictures from the Milimani court, where the former Youth and Gender Affairs Principal Secretary Lilian Omolo and her 29 co-accused in the third cluster of the NYS2 case have pleaded not guilty to charges of conspiracy to defraud the National Youth Service of 167 million shillings. And the prosecution has outlined a 54 counts implicating former senior state officials, including the former NYS Director General Richard Ndubai. As you see on your screens, the case is currently ongoing at the Anti-Corruption Court in Milimani.
One of the ways of exonerating our clients would be from the responses that will come out of the 53rd count. And without these people...
Seth Olale is our reporter on the ground, and he's following that story closely. More in our subsequent bulletins. To Nakuru County now, where leaders have condemned a recent incident where it is alleged that county government officials rounded up and dumped more than 40 street boys at the Chemusus forest in Baringo County. Led by the Nakuru County Women Representative Lisa Chalule, the leaders denounced the incident, saying that life is precious and it is only God that can take it away. They want those implicated in the matter to face the full force of the law. The leaders recommended that a rehabilitation centre should be opened up where the street boys can be admitted. The 42 boys were arrested in a swoop in Nakuru County on Wednesday last week and were allegedly dumped at Torongo area in Baringo County, 50 kilometres away. The boys claim some county officials harassed them after accusing them of making the town dirty and terrorizing residents.
Hata nikisikia kuna watoto walipelekwa kwenda msituni. Wakati mnapeleka watu waende msituni kwenda kuwaua, si ni kupelekea wanyama, si ni kupanga mambo mbaya kuhusu maisha ya binadamu. Maisha ya binadamu ni ya Mungu peke yake, na ni Mungu peke yake atachukua. Siwezi unga mkono hiyo mambo. Huyo mwenye alipanga watoto wapelekwe pale msituni ashikwe na tuambie ni nini alikuwa kileta.
Tutaomba county executive wachunguze nani na achukulie hatua, kwa sababu ni makosa sana kwenda kudamp watoto kwa kaunti nyingine kwa watoto, kwa sababu ndio city ikuwe safi. Tutakubali ikuwe city na hao watoto kwa sababu ni watoto wetu.
Tumeanza kufikiria mambo ambayo yalikuwa kitendeka zamani, yule Idi Amin alipokuwa akifanya kurusha viwete katika mto. Ni kwamba tuko na mtu ambaye amezaliwa na Idi Amin katika hii kaunti yetu na hatutakubali.
The Kajiado County government today closed Tata Chemicals' Magadi Kajiado depot, saying that it's a health hazard to the people living in Kajiado area. The depot, which still faces a 17 billion shilling land rates dispute with the county government, was closed on account of breaching 3 laws that include the Magadi Soda Agreement of 2004, the Binding Act of 2015 and the Mining Act of 2016. The county government is pointing fingers at the company for failing to act on the Magadi Soda Agreement 2004, in which the company had promised to support the local community so that it can be more sustainable. Well, this comes after the company had issued a statement that it had spent 276 million shillings in corporate social responsibility activities in the county. The closure of the depot has indirectly paralysed the operation at the Magadi plant, as the soda ash and other raw materials are packed and transported via railway to the Mombasa port. Now, they say a thief's days are numbered, and some of them will add that 40 is the number. Well, for one thief in Kiambu County's Lari area, his fate befell him almost immediately. A man died when he was running away from angry villagers and fell into the waters of Bathi Dam and drowned. The villagers had gone out to assist a neighbour whose cows had been stolen. They say the thieves were found slaughtering the stolen animals in the forest, after which they tried to escape. The deceased's body was later removed from the waters, and 7 cows are claimed to have been stolen from the village by people they suspect were the same ones stealing and slaughtering their donkeys. The area chief, John Kimama, says the police will intensify their patrols.
Hata kuku wote wanabeba. Waizi tulikufungusana na hawa wasaida walisikia tunakuja. Hata hii ingine ilikuwa inatolewa ngambo ile, tulikuwa tunakuta inasimama. Saida walisikia watu wanakuja, hawa wenyewe wakatoroka.
Right to the coast now, and police have been evacuating tourists from the Leopard Beach Hotel in Diani, Kwale County, after a fire burnt down one of the makuti thatched cottages in the hotel. Now, the fire that started at 9:30 last evening was reportedly caused by fireworks. The Musambweni OCPD, Joseph Chebusit, says that there are no injuries or casualties reported from the incident. There had been a Hindu wedding taking place at the hotel, from which the fireworks that started the fire. Firefighters successfully put out the fire shortly after 1 a.m. and the hotel's governor and warden cottages were most affected. The media have been denied access to the premises, and the Kwale County Police Commander Tom Odero has been issuing an update on the incident.
Investigation. In fact, other government agencies are already on the ground. Samples are being collected to ascertain the actual cause, whether the fireworks actually caused or facilitated the fire.
Any casualties?
Niaje. Want to invest in a biashara that will take your hustle to the next level?
News now, and 3 games on the cards in today's Kenyan Premier League as Sony Sugar host Chemelil at Awendo, Mount Kenya and KCB face off at Machakos, and Ulinzi take on Western Stima at the Afraha Stadium in Nakuru. Now, Mount Kenya will be looking to continue their recently found form, this time against the Bankers. The Melis Meadow-led side has of late registered impressive results, including wins against Mathare United and AFC Leopards. Meanwhile, Western Stima will be chasing their 7th win of the season when they come up against Ulinzi, who have had a start to forget this season as they place 11th with 13 points. Defending champions Equity Bank got off to a positive start after comfortably beating Kenyatta University 5-0 on the first day of the National Chess League at the KCB Sports Club. The Bankers' victory was highlighted by newcomer Matthew Kangeni winning against Dennis Otieno. Meanwhile, Nairobi Chess Club made a good return to the top league after dispatching Nacha Kings 5-0, the most notable being Peter Gilruth, who rejoined Nairobi Chess Club from Equity Bank, winning his match against Robert Makligeo. In the other select results, Daystar edged Steamer 3-2, Eastlands cruised to a 3-1 win over Lighthouse, JKUAT thrashed Central Bank 4-0, and Technical University of Kenya beat the University of Nairobi 4-1. League One sides Nants and Nims paid an emotional tribute to Emiliano Sala before their match on Sunday. From Uasin Gishu and Nandi counties have told off Mombasa County Governor Hassan Joho over what they describe as constant attacks directed at Deputy President William Ruto. Uasin Gishu County Governor Jackson Mandago said that the attacks against the Deputy President did not reflect the spirit of the handshake. He asked leaders to uphold the spirit of the handshake of bringing peace and unity among Kenyans. The Nandi Governor Stephen Sang said that they will not allow leaders to abuse the Deputy President, who they say has done a lot for Kenya. Kesa's MP Swarup Mishra said that the handshake was meant to bring peace and unity among Kenyans and not to demean Deputy President William Ruto. The leaders were speaking at the Chepteret Catholic Church in Uasin Gishu County.
Tunasalamiana tulete Wakenya pamoja. Itakuwaje stakeholder mmoja ya wale walisalamiana anatuma kiongozi mwingine kwenda kutuzi kiongozi mwingine? Tutasemaje kama taifa? Tunajenga madaraja ya uhusiano. Kama tunabomoa daraja 10 na tunajenga moja. Wisdom inahitaji kuwa unajenga moja kuongeza na 10 iwe daraja 11.
Mtu ambaye ametusaidia ni William Ruto. Hatutakubali kiongozi kama huyu akuje kuharibu jina ya deputy president na ili hali yeye hako na shida.
What is your future in politics of this country? Surely. Shame on you. Shame on Buho. Who the handshake between Excellency Uhuru and Excellency Raila Odinga is not to abuse deputy president. The handshake is for the betterment and the development of the Republic of Kenya, peace, prosperity, and development.
And that's all we have for you on NTV at 1. Thanks very much for joining us. More news coming your way at 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock and 9 p.m. Have yourselves a good afternoon.